LiteBite Food Private Limited, which is promoted by Dabur Vice Chairman Amit Burman, runs a very interesting portfolio of restaurants. The range grows from fine dining at Zambar, casual dining at Fresco to QSR brands like Subway. Its flagship and most successful brands are Punjab Grill, Asia 7, Zambar, Fresco and Bakers Street. And this is exactly where the company plans to focus for the next few years. Aspiration is also to go for an IPO, but before that, doors are open for a private equity raise. The company in the overall picture hopes to reach revenues worth Rs 500 crores in the next 3 years. In an exclusive interaction with VC Circle, Sharad Sachdeva, COO of LiteBite Foods, discusses the company's plans, perspective on acquisitions, and focus on the homegrown brands of the company. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
You're into 3 segments: QSR, casual dining, and also fine dining. So in a holistic view, if I ask you, where is the major focus of the company? And going forward, where will we see the major expansion? I mean, how would you put it?
You see, LiteBite is across formats, if you say QSR, fine dining, casual dining, and different formats in QSR. Our focus definitely is on our couple of flagship brands like Zambar and Punjab Grill. So we already are tying up for the new franchisee outlets in different geographies. So our focus will definitely be on couple of top end brands that we own, like Punjab Grill, Zambar and Asia 7, and probably bakery concept, which is Bakers Street, doing very well in airports. So that's where our focus is going to be.
Which are the most successful brands for you? And going forward, I mean, will your wave of expansion be restricted to those brands?
Our most successful brands are, needless to say, one is Punjab Grill. Zambar has some very good reviews. Tomorrow we are going to be awarded for the Times Food Award in Pune for Punjab Grill and Zambar both. And our focus is beyond these 2 brands is on Baker Street. Then our Chinese Pan-Asian concept, which is Asia 7. That's our basic focus going to be in the next couple of years for expansion.
Okay. Can you throw some light on the number of outlets and what are the numbers that you are expecting to expand into in the coming future?
You see, we have round about 65 outlets in India, and if I have to add one from Singapore, that's the extra one. And in the coming 6 months, we will probably cross 70, because there are about 5-7 outlets which are in the pipeline. 2 of them are in Gurgaon, 1 in Bombay, 1 in Bangkok, 3 of them in Abu Dhabi. So that's the expansion plan as far as number of outlets are concerned. And the next few years, our focus will be more on franchising and consolidating the brands that we think are in great demand.
What do you mean by consolidating?
We basically right now have about 11 different concepts, from Pan-Asian to Chinese to Italian to bakery to North Indian, South Indian, and then certain street food of India and all. So we now want to consolidate on some 4-5 major concepts, like which is Asia 7, Zambar, Punjab Grill. So that is the strategy. So that's what we want to focus. Right now our focus is distributed amongst 11 different concepts. But going forward, we want to focus on 4-5 brands more and expand them across India, outside of India also. So we'll be easing out some brands.
Okay, so for your homegrown brands, have you always expanded through the franchise route, or was there since 2001? I mean, when is it that you entered the franchise route for homegrown brands?
You see, for any franchising to happen, it is also very important that somebody should see where our strength is. So first of all, we build in strength within house. So we had first few outlets of our own operated in India, which is in Bombay, major geographies in Bombay, major areas in Delhi. So after that, when the brand was catching up, we thought, why not we should think on franchising route. That's where there was certain very encouraging response that we got. So right now the Singapore outlet is a franchise outlet, and Bangalore outlet is also a franchise outlet, and the outlet that we are talking majorly outside India are franchise outlets. So that's what our focus is going to be. That in Delhi and Bombay we'll do ourselves, and maybe going forward, if we are planning to go to Europe and London and in the North Americas, we'll strategically have some outlets which will be owned by LiteBite Food, and some outlets will be franchised.
So it will be a mix.
It will be a kind of a hub and a spoke model.
The company has mentioned in the past of achieving a target of 500 crores by 2014 and 300 outlets. So, looking at the past, do you think that this is a realistic target in terms of number of outlets and also in terms of top line?
You see, the first few years are always challenging for any organization. I'm sure you know that. But when we say 500 crores in the next 2 to 3 years, not 2014, but maybe next 2 to 3 years, it's quite achievable, because the kind of expansion plan which is in place, and the kind of thought process the directors have today, and the kind of team that we have here. So I think 500 should not be a challenging score. And when we are, expanding in a very, very fast pace across India, outside of India, I don't think 500 crore in the next 2 to 3 years should be challenged.
Okay. So tell us something about your plans outside India. What will be the route and which are the geographies that you're looking at, and for what all brands?
You see, as I said, our major brands which are homegrown brands and which are very close to our heart is basically Punjab Grill, Zambar and Asia 7. And somewhere we have plans to expand Baker Street. So these brands we are taking to UAE majorly. So we have signed up with one of the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. So we are opening 3 outlets there in his mall called Banias.
Okay.
So we are opening Punjab Grill, Zambar and Asia 7 in Abu Dhabi first in the next 4-5 months, and we'll replicate it in different locations within UAE.
Okay.
That's already kind of done. So we'll be looking at places like London, maybe Canada, US. That could be the next big thing which can happen. So
is it through franchise again, or
it is both. It is basically through franchise. It is also through we are planning to do some co-investments in certain strategic locations. So it is mixed bag. So
you're in talks with partners.
Yeah, we are already in talks.
So how many outlets can we expect outside India in the?
You see, it is a very tricky question.
Okay.
It depends what kind of areas do we really want to expand. It is also very important for us to know that where all we can actually do a diligent job. So I would not be surprised to have at least 15 to 20 outlets in the next 15 months.
Outside India. Is the company planning to raise any funds by any chance? Is PE an option for you?
We are actually, a lot of PE funds are talking to our directors, and because they have this confidence in this brand, and Dabur is backing us. So a lot of companies know what Dabur is and know what Mr. Burman is. So there's a lot of confidence.
Brand trust.
So there's a lot of trust in the PE circle for LiteBite. So we normally get a lot of discussions, and a lot of people talk to us for PE investments. I think that will be prudent for Mr. Burman to answer. But going on the generation of fund, yes, probably in few months we'll be planning to work on an IPO and see how things are. Probably in a couple of years we should be thinking for an IPO.
How are you planning to route your IPO, and why does the company want to go for an IPO? I mean, there's no reason, but
basically when we are talking of expansion, when today we are 65 outlets and tomorrow we want to be say 250 outlets, so the funds have to come in, and directors have to dilute their equity to an extent and get in funds from outside, whether it's PE investment or public, going to the public. So for that kind of expansion you need a lot of funds at hand. So next big thing would be going to the public and raising funds through the public and expand the next 2
So you're
to
looking
3
at an
years.
IPO in the next 2-3 years, hopefully.
Maybe next 3 years, not 2 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
And how the size of the IPO, is there anything?
I think it will be too premature
Okay.
for me to actually say that, because right now I don't have much details on that. We are discussing. We've had a couple of serious brainstorming sessions on the IPO bit, and the directors are also thinking very seriously about the IPO. So I think for the
And a lot
timing.
of companies are also getting listed in the food.
Yeah, there are a
segment.
lot of companies. Yes, Mr. Ranjan Chakrabarti from mainland China, he went to the public, and it's got very encouraging response. Very passionate guy to do business, and he's a success story in F&B, and we all know that. So we don't want to compare ourselves, but yes, going forward, we will definitely go to that route and take investments, and I'm sure people will believe in our brand with the kind of backing that we have, and we'll do good. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do good.
Now, going back to what you earlier said, you mentioned consolidation and you mentioned focus on specific brands. So, I mean, at this point, can we expect a few homegrown brands from LiteBite and new brands coming up? Or would you? Yeah.
We're planning couple of concepts on the cafe model.
Okay.
I think very shortly you'll get to know something. It's still on the conceptualization stage. Yes, we are planning to do a couple of more brands. While we say we lease out somewhere, we'll consolidate somewhere, we'll focus somewhere. So I think yes, to answer to you, yes, we are focusing on certain brands. Needless to say, but we are also planning to launch a couple of new brands, which will be maybe by 31st of March we should be able to throw a couple of more concepts in the market.
What concepts are attractive right now to enter?
You see, if we see our portfolio, we don't have much of Lebanese concept, and our corporate chef Mr. Bakshishdin, his major forte and strength is Lebanese. So we're planning to do something around that concept to go with. That's the next thing that will probably come up into the market. And there's a couple of other things which are very premature to discuss.
So when you say cafe, by cafe you mean the coffee chain business in India, or?
We are doing a very nice conglomerate concept with a coffee and a Lebanese concept.
Okay.
It's a very interesting concept that we'll be doing. So it's going to be worth watching and worth waiting for. So I think very shortly we'll come out with it. So we'll definitely let you know at the right time.
Sure.
So that's the kind of cafe we are planning. So cafe with a Lebanese food. So it's a nice combination of both the concepts.
Okay.
We are very excited about it.
So it sounds very exciting.
Yeah, it's something new.
Yeah. Also tell us something about, the margins and profitability in going, like as an entrepreneur, being in fine dining and being in QSRs or casual. Because is fine dining hit the most when people keep talking about slowdown? I mean, though I don't see it in the eating out business in India at all, that it's hitting anybody. But tell us something about the profits and margins, that you see in both the businesses.
Do you expect me to state the truth or what?
The truth.
Okay. So, profitability is a very, very dicey question and dicey to speak, because it depends on a lot of things. It depends on spoilage in our industry, it depends on pilferage, it depends on a lot of other things, logistics. So, because we are in food business in India, where it's about 10 months summer, a lot of spoilage happens, food gets spoiled, and therefore it hits the food cost. If it hits the food cost, it hits the profitability. So profitability definitely is different in QSRs and CDRs and FDRs. While FDR is a high risk game, but profitability is slightly higher on those concepts. QSR, the manpower cost remains the same, and basically the profitability is slightly, not that much what I feel. This is my feeling. So profitability is different from different concept. So it's just the scale at what you are operating. So if you're doing a bakery here, you need to have 10 bakeries so that your commissary can support 10 bakeries. So if you have 2 bakeries, your commissary cost will be actually divided into these two outlets, and therefore profitability will go for a toss. So profitability is a very subjective thing to talk about. But to answer your question, yes, profitability is higher on the FDR concepts, fine dine concepts, and slightly lower on the QSR concepts.
How important is scale in this business?
You see, we all know this is something which we call as economies of scale. So economies of scale does play very important. Like we have 3 outlets together in Pune.
Okay.
The kitchen is one, so there are a lot of duplicacy don't happen. A lot of equipments are optimally utilized. A lot of staff is optimally utilized. So basically 3 outlets, but manpower we optimize, kitchen equipment we optimize, kitchen staff we optimize. So it's basically economies of scale. So if it is one outlet, we still will have to have certain basic infrastructure. But if you have 3, so the economies does play an important role. And when we're sitting at today 65 outlets and tomorrow we think of 200 plus, obviously my corporate cost is going to be shared out of 200 outlets, which is today 65. So economies does play an important role in our industry, and the top line always looks rosy. I don't know much about EBITDA and profitability, but yes, top line does improve, and therefore economies does play a role.
Okay. Tell us about the global brand, Subway, that you have got to India. How has the growth been in the past, and what are you expecting in the future? Because it's always compared to brands like McDonald's and Domino's. So how has the experience been, and what can we expect in the future in terms of scale from Subway?
See, Subway is the place where our directors started their journey in F&B. They opened their first outlet of Subway, went for the training in their Subway headquarters in Connecticut, and that's where LiteBite was born. And when we ventured into different concepts in the last 5-6 years, we are here where we are today. So Subway today, the way it is being marketed and it's being placed in the market, it's a healthy eating, and with the disposable income in the upper middle class getting better and bigger, people started traveling. Now they expose what Subway is, what are subs. So Quiznos has come into India. So obviously with this, and the kind of sedentary lifestyle we all live, we still want to eat out, but eat healthy. So that's where Subway is encashing on, and that's where they're placing their bet on. And so Subway today is promoted as a healthy eating concept and healthy eating format.
No, but what's the reason that it's not growing at the same pace, like in terms of scale?
Within LiteBite?
Yeah.
You see, we have a certain amount of kitty to invest.
Okay.
Then we think where to invest. So if that's the case, then I would probably want my own brand, homegrown brand, to go and do better rather than taking a franchise outlet. Then there is a typical growth barrier in Subway, because there are a lot of Subways operating across. Unless and until a very good opportunity comes to us, we would not like to go into expanding Subway. So our focus therefore goes into other brands. So that's what it is. Otherwise we are expanding Subway. We recently opened Subway in Fortis in Gurgaon just 2.5-3 months back.
Okay.
So we are expanding there as well. It's not like that we are not focusing on Subway. We do.
Okay. Acquiring some brands.
No, we have actually not planned anything to acquire, but having said that, I would not reject the idea of acquiring a brand, going out and seeing if something is really making sense on the business side, and if it makes business sense, why not? We're also talking to certain international brands to for them to come into India, partner with LiteBite Food and expand. That's where the inorganic growth can come in from.
But what kind of brand do you think would fit right now if it's out for sale and wants to be sold to LiteBite?
I mean, it is a very tricky question to answer, because I can't say, because a lot of new propositions come into for discussion, and depends what is our focus and how does it really benefit our operations. So if it is not, so if today somebody comes in with a cafe option, we will not be very keen, because we
You're
already
coming up yourself.
we already have our Baker Street, and we already planning another cafe format. So it has to also come into our growth strategy too, if we want to take it over or not. It has to make business sense to take it over, just not for this fun sake.